Hi there. Thank you so much for that introduction, Ginger and Tasha both. I'm really happy to be here, and I thank you for coming to hear me speak and to support great Democratic candidates that we have in the lineup for all of our elected offices, including school board, this year. So I'm Dr. Jennifer Boddicker, running for Florida House in District 80. How many of you are tired of politicians that are just in it for themselves? Yeah, me too. That's why I'm running for office. I'm running against one-term Republican Byron Donald. So you have to ask yourself, what has he really accomplished? What has Byron Donald done for you, your family, or our community in general? Well, I'll tell you that he hasn't done much. One of the very first things that he did when he got into office was put forward legislation to dismantle our Florida sunshine laws. Why? What's he got to hide? Why does he want to go back to the days of dirty backroom deals? Thank goodness that one didn't pass, but he's managed to make some other laws that have passed, and they're just as bad. For instance, one that passed this year is a terrible waste of taxpayer dollars. It's the so-called Hope Scholarship. It has a pretty name, but it's really awful. Basically what it does is siphon public taxpayer dollars away from the public school system. It entitles any child that complains of being bullied to a taxpayer-funded voucher scholarship to private schools. Now, there are a lot of problems with this. For one, it doesn't solve the problem of the bully at all. It passes the buck, and it sends the child to another school, a private school, which will have no oversight or regulation. Did you know that private schools using taxpayer funds have absolutely no educational standards? None. The teachers are not required to have degrees, for instance. There is no state-mandated curriculum standard at all. The children don't have to take any standardized tests in comparison to public schools. So the bottom line is we send these children to private schools with taxpayer funds, and we don't know at all what kind of education they're getting, and that's unacceptable. Beyond that, Byron Donald has passed laws to loosen regulations on charter schools, taking away local control, and of course helping his friends in Tallahassee that own private schools via this Hope Scholarship program, which is stealing money away from our kids. Isn't that enough to make you want to run for office? Right? But wait, there's more about that Byron Donald. Only I don't have time to tell you all the kind of terrible things that he's done since he's been in office. I can talk to you about it because it all kind of sticks in my craw. But what I want to tell you right now is why I'm qualified to take his place. I'm a wife, mother, scientist, and author with a PhD in microbiology that I earned from the University of Iowa. After I got my PhD for 10 years, I worked in my field doing teaching and research, and also volunteering on the board of my children's daycare. My family moved to Florida when my husband got a great job opportunity down here. And I had started writing a novel before I left Iowa, and I finished it once we moved to Florida. It won Florida Writers Association Book of the Year, and I published it this past fall. But I also knew that I really wanted to stay involved and make a difference. I was an organizing member of the Indivisibles, and since then I have decided that I want to run for office to fight corruption in my own backyard. Yay! So Florida is ranked 48th in healthcare and 35th in education spending. We have some of the laxest gun laws in the nation that serve as a model for other states, unfortunately, and we have a terrible, heartbreaking record of gun violence to go with those laws. Lawmakers have been robbing the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for years. Even in 2017, when so many Floridians lost their homes due to Hurricane Irma, lawmakers in Tallahassee still stole 2/3 of the money from the Affordable Housing Trust instead of helping people to get housing. Rising seas are lapping at our doorsteps, threatening our coasts and our drinking water, and yet our lawmakers are not even allowed to say the words climate change. Our public schools are systematically being defunded. Teachers haven't had a substantive raise in 10 years. Meanwhile, there's very little oversight for charter schools and private schools siphoning off taxpayer dollars. Polluted waters are routinely discharged from Lake Okeechobee into the Caloosahatchee and St. Lucie rivers, leading to toxic algae blooms on both coasts, which kill fish, endanger beachgoer health, and our tourism economy. Meanwhile, the Everglades and our drinking water aquifers are being allowed to run dry. More scientists like me need a seat at the table when it comes to policy making. Legislators need to use logic and reason and common sense when they're making laws. When I'm elected, I'll use my scientific background to craft policy in the best interests of Floridians rather than corporate campaign donors and private business interests. I'll fight for clean water by cleaning up the pollution in Lake Okeechobee, the Caloosahatchee, and St. Lucie rivers. I'll fight to restore the Everglades and replenish our drinking water aquifers. I'm a strong proponent of public schools. I believe our teachers need substantive raises, adequate teaching supplies, and a change to the current testing burden that they labor under. What teachers don't need is the extra responsibility of carrying a gun.
Yeah.
Our teachers are not bodyguards and they're not soldiers, and we shouldn't ask them to be. We need to strengthen our schools by enacting common sense gun legislation, universal background checks, a state gun registry, and a ban on military-style assault rifles. Byron Donald refused to even hear an amendment that would ban assault rifles, while Parkland students stood in the gallery and cried. I don't want a legislator in Tallahassee that won't even listen to the voters. To address the woeful state of health care in our state, we should begin by expanding Medicaid. That'll bring $6 billion of federal money back into the state, and it will save Florida money overall, an estimated $550 million that we'll save in healthcare spending when we expand Medicaid. Criminal justice reform is needed, and affordable housing. Prison vendors should not be making money by restricting visitation and then charging inmates for every email that they send to loved ones. And we should free up the money in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that our legislators have been robbing year in and year out. I ask you, what kind of nation, what kind of state do you want to live in? I want to live in a state where our children receive the quality public education that they're entitled to by our Florida Constitution, where every person is respected and valued no matter their religion, their skin color, or their sexual orientation, where our streets and movie theaters and schools and churches are once again safe from gun violence because the NRA and the gun lobbies are no longer writing our gun laws. If we work together, fight together, we can make Florida, this great state, an even better place to work, live, and vacation. I'm Dr. Jennifer Boddicker. I'm running for Florida House in District 80, and I'm asking for your support and your vote in November. Together, we can make a brighter future for Florida.